Thank you for listening to another edition of Interview with DJ Nocturna. If you're listening on my YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, share. And I'm speaking with the multi-instrumentalist, guitarist, producer from Edinburgh, Scotland, Pete Burns. And of course, his project, Kill Shelter. Thank you, Pete. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Anne. Lovely to be here. Lovely to see you.
Finally meeting you for the first time. You know, we've been communicating online and playing your collaborations and
Thank you.
and all the releases you've had. I mean, I think I met you through Carl.
Oh yeah.
I think it was him, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Antipole.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if you got a chance to hear my interview with him 2 years ago.
I did.
It's actually on my was it on my, I think that was on my podcast. I don't think I had my YouTube channel
That's
yet.
right. It was indeed, because I spoke to him the night before, and then I tuned in, I think the next day as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
listen to it. So yeah, Carl and I have been friends for quite a while now, actually. I kind of first discovered his music back in 2016. So he had a single, Deco Blue, which I really liked. It was a really kind of standout track, actually, really beautiful. And that kind of caught my attention. And yeah, we started speaking, I think maybe about a year later or something like that. And met him in 2019 at the Cold Transmission Festival in Germany, which is great. And I think we became really good friends. You know, so I don't think there's many days that go past without me messaging Carl.
I know.
He's a really nice guy. I've got a video call with him tomorrow night, actually, booked in. So.
Yeah, you guys have a wonderful collaboration. I think you guys work well together. Please tell him I said hello.
Will do, absolutely. I will. He'll be pleased to hear that. It's a really good interview, actually. I think I know he's not a big fan of doing interviews, but
yeah, I know. I was so honored to be. You just meet like the most interesting people, and sometimes you have to start somewhere, and then you never know. I might, I live all the way down here in Hawaii, but you never know. You live in Scotland.
Yeah.
Which is it's morning time here for me, and it's nighttime there for you. But sometimes, I travel to Europe, so maybe one of these days.
Absolutely.
I'll be coming to your shows.
Yeah. Sounds good.
But you did this amazing debut album called Damage, which is quite successful. It's for a debut album, which is amazing. A lot of great songs in there and collaborations. And
thank you.
And now you have a new one coming out. It's actually gonna air by the time this show is gonna air in July 16.
All right, so
you're releasing that, yeah. So I planned it that way so that I can release it right after the next day, because I know you have some. If people want to check you out, it's actually on your Bandcamp page. You can see the songs, but you can't, they're not released.
That's
Only one. You got one that's coming out, which is a great track. It's a collaboration with Johan Lang, Agent Side Grinder.
That's right. Absolutely. So the Swedish band, amazing actually. So I first started speaking to those guys, I think it would have been back in 2018. And I got an opportunity to remix an amazing track by them called Into the Wild.
Yeah, I heard that. Great track.
It's stunning actually. And they were really supportive. I mean, at that point, I don't think I'm particularly well known anyway, but at that time I really wasn't known at all. They were really kind enough to go back to the original recordings and give me the stems, all analog stems, and I did the remix. So we kept in touch. And when I started working on what became Asylum, which, as you say, kind of comes out on the 15th of July, I was really keen to work with them. So I'd written the track, or at least the bass track, or the basis of the track, with them in mind. And that's really how I do work. I don't just write a song and think, oh, who could I get to collaborate on this? I write very specifically for individuals.
Oh yeah, I see that. It's beautiful. I know you take a very intricate. You really pay very special attention to details. I know that. This particular album is called Asylum.
That's right.
And there's all the songs there. Correct me if I'm wrong. All the songs there are based on different interpretations of the definition of asylum,
Yeah,
which is
that's right.
wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I think especially when. So let me start at the top. So, I mean, one of the things that I find is quite important for, especially working with other collaborators, is having a strong concept and narrative thread that glues everything together. So, as my musical style can change, it can go anything from, kind of industrial EBM into more kind of trad goth area and kind of everything in between under the kind of dark wave banner. But yeah, I think that, it's quite, I guess, quite important for me to, be thinking just about the way that, I approach the songs. So Damage in itself had a really strong theme, and there was a lot of stuff going on for me personally. So when I started to think about that particular narrative theme, it really helped me deliver the album. So I could speak to people about what I was trying to achieve. And that, I think, getting used to that kind of way of working allowed me to then kind of take that forward into Asylum. So quite early on, I had the concept. And what I tend to do when I'm working is I'll have the concept for the album, and I'll have maybe a working title. And I'll try and hone that down and kind of explore the themes basically on paper. So, I keep copious notes, and I'm always writing and kind of collating information. And so I start to kind of build up a picture of what it could be, what directions it could go. So, and similarly with things like the artwork, I tend to work with that in advance as well. So I've kind of got a visual theme, if you like, and to kind of carry me through as well. So yeah, with Asylum, I mean, I think there's been, as I say, it's kind of 4 years in the process, so it's quite a journey, across everything. And I think there were lots of things that kind of came up personally for me, as well as, things that we were kind of experiencing, in the world. And I think that's, I didn't want it to be a wholly political album, but I felt that there was enough kind of creative opportunities within that concept to explore. So yeah, I mean, within the album itself, there's kind of themes of seeking sanctuary and domestic abuse, and asylum seeking, disillusionment, mental health. And I think and there's also another theme that runs through the album, which is about the abuse of power. And and I think that's something that I find quite difficult to deal with, if I'm being honest. So when I'm writing, I always write from a very kind of personal point of view. And I think there was a lot going on, I think, both personally and kind of outwardly, in terms of things that were affecting us all. So I think there was no way that that wasn't going to affect the next album. But yeah, I mean, I think that working with a concept definitely helps when it comes to those more collaborative albums where you've got kind of multiple people kind of coming into the album itself. So yeah, I think it helps a little.
Yeah, I think Asylum is like it's a form of protection, which I feel, and it's a personal sanctuary as well, right? So
Definitely.
It's kind of universal. Besides, I mean, many people I'm sure can relate to this. So I think it's a wonderful theme, and I see that you've worked with you're working with several people. Ronnie Moorings for one.
Yes.
Yeah, he does have a song in here, so he will be singing. He'll be singing,
Yes.
right? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
So, and the name. May I mention the name of the song?
Yes, by all means. Yes, absolutely.
It's called All of This, which is Ronnie Moorings of the wonderful Ronnie Moorings of Planet Zymlox. And I did an interview with him as well. I don't know if you check that out. It's a podcast.
Yes.
I actually saw him, the band, right before the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so we did that interview. So it was kind of like during that pandemic time, and he was talking about the pandemic in the interview, which is really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's I'm looking forward to that. All of this is called. It's a ninth song in
that's
the
right.
in the album
Yeah,
Asylum.
it, yeah. I mean,
So
working.
how did you get together with to collaborate with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I was really, hoping to do with this album was basically, can span 40 years, if you like, of dark wave and alternative music. And that was one of the things that I wanted to, kind of explore with that album. And yeah, I'd been speaking to Ronnie online, essentially. And I said, kind of written this track with you in mind, but, there's clearly no pressure. And I sent him the bass track, and he was like, "Oh, got a basic track." And he said, "Oh, send me the lyrics." So I sent the lyrics, and then he said, "Send me a guide vocal." So, oh God, singing for Ronnie Moorings. But yes, I put down a guide vocal for him, and yeah, he was great. He was really incredibly professional, really good to work with. And actually, I would say all of this is probably the epic track on the album, if you like. It's quite a
Oh,
big tune. So that's kind of why it's kind of placed where it is in the album. I know it's quite a complex song as well. Very very emotive, but musically it changes time signature in the middle, and it's doing quite a lot of kind of quite complex things. But hopefully that doesn't get in the way of the listen. You can just sit back and enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, when Ronnie sent me the stems back, I was absolutely delighted, as you could well imagine. And yeah, there's quite a big difference between my poor guide vocal that I sent him and what he sent me back. I mean, he really did interpret it, and I think that's a really important part of this process. It's getting the input from other people. It's not just about the vocal takes, and kind of bringing their own artistry and excellence to the recordings. It's
yeah.
about their interpretation of it as well. And I think for me as an artist, it makes a big difference to have someone else's input. It's really inspiring. So when I got the vocals back, I started to kind of rework the track around it, and it started to blossom after that point. And what I tend to do with all the tracks is send basically a work in progress, so let people know where I am
Oh,
in
yeah.
that, just so that they can. I would hate to get to the point where they didn't like what I was doing. They didn't like the way the vocals were treated, anything like that. So yeah, I'm always kind of aware that got to be sensitive to the way that people feel, because they are being they're representing themselves as well as Kill Shelter in that. But yeah, I mean, fantastic. I sent him following that, I sent him the full track, and yeah, he was really supportive. He really liked it, which was
Oh, I
great.
can't wait. I'm really looking forward to that track. I mean, I could barely. I'm like sitting on the edge of my chair.
Oh, well,
I love Clandestine Locks and Ronnie Mooring. So
yeah,
and
yeah,
I know you also have another track here by William Faith of Bellwether
yes,
Syndicate and Christian Death.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
But
Peyton the Muse, Cover Me.
yeah, totally. So I think Cover Me's it's probably the ballad on the album. So it's a Williams vocal is absolutely stunning on it, I have to say. It's a really beautiful rendition. And I mean, we spoke about it, and I sent him the track, and then I sent him the lyrics, and he was saying it's quite unusual for him to be singing, essentially someone else's lyrics. But I mean, again, he absolutely took it on board. And one of the thing about Cover Me is it's quite a personal song, as you'd well imagine. But it's almost like a one-to-one. So, for the main vocal, he didn't do any double tracking or, any kind of building up of the kind of vocal performance, because he wanted it to feel intimate, and direct. I know, it's incredible. I mean, it's a fantastic. Yeah, I was, delighted to be working with everyone on the album. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those moments where you get the vocal back and you drop it into even the demo track, and you suddenly go, "Oh my God!" I feel so lucky, and that. And I don't want to keep kind of going over the same thing, but that is kind of one of the reasons that I love collaborating with people.
Yeah. No, I can almost feel that this is going to be a really good album. I feel that. I really do. And I'm intuitive. Try.
Okay. Well, let's take your intuition into consideration, and then that's,
and of course, Carl got to be in the album, right?
yeah.
There's Antipole here with Buried Deep. Oh, that's
Oh,
really gothic. Buried Deep.
it is. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's the most gothic track on the album. Let's be honest. But I'd released the version of that. A good few years ago. But yeah, I re-recorded it.
Mm.
I got Carl in on the guitars, did some additional vocals, and it basically extended the vocal element of the track. I kind of always felt that it was my kind of the original was my kind of first attempt at kind of singing in public, if you like. And yeah, I felt that I'd made quite a few mistakes, and I wasn't particularly, even though it was a breakthrough for me kind of personally to kind of overcome some of my kind of personal issues around singing. But yeah, I was keen to redo it. So yeah, and I think, I didn't want another album to go past without my good friend Carl being on it. So and he really liked the track Buried Deep, so he was keen to work on it. And yeah, so you'll kind of hear his guitars kind of rising and falling throughout the track, and it's kind of blended into the track itself. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to that one too. And then of course, In This Place. Yes. It's another one from a band that I remember this band, Steven. So tell us about that one.
Yeah, so Stefan's become a really, People from Betten are amazing kind of German synth pop bands, synth pop legends actually.
Yeah.
And they've got a new album coming out. I was lucky enough to hear it in advance. So I think it'll probably come out next year actually. Stunning. It's a really
that's Be Born Beton.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I again spoke to Stefan and to send him out and see if he was interested in the track. It's very different for him, but he's totally on board with it. And yeah, amazing to work with. In fact, we've become very good friends. So he's coming over, about 25th of July, so not long now. So yeah, kind of planned he's over here with his partner for a week. So yeah, plan to see him when he's over. But yeah, again, Stefan is definitely a perfectionist. So he works very much like the way that I like to work. So he sent me kind of rough stems just to check in and see how things were progressing. But he did about, I think maybe 12 to 14 vocal layers, and gave me lots of options in terms of the final mix. And yeah, it's his performance is perfect. He vocally, I don't know how he does it. He just doesn't put a foot wrong. And actually, In This Place will be the next single. So by the time this airs, In This Place is basically the single that launches the album. So it'll be we're been working on the video, so it's still doing kind of final edits, and I need to shoot a little bit more video. I'd hoped to do that today, but the weather wasn't brilliant. So yeah, I'll finish that off, and we should get the final cut done this week.
Okay, and then Feed the Fire with Ash Code. That's another one.
So it's quite a different track for Ash Code. So yeah, they were fantastic to work with, and really, kind of accommodating of the ideas. And one of the things that, they did was they put, some additional synths on the track, but they also gave me an alternative drum track as well. So it's quite I'd say Feed the Fire is quite a political song, if you kind of dig deep into that. So there's there's that kind of strong kind of undercurrent of, as I was saying, kind of things like abuse of power. And so yeah, I think their delivery is really strong in the track, but also it's quite different.
So you provide the lyrics, and then you tell them what the basic theme is.
Yeah, so sometimes they'll be really upfront and tell people what it's about, and other times I'll maybe wait until later. So good. It really depends. you know, so for instance, when I worked with Antipole and Delphine Coma on In Decay, which was on the first album, Damage, it's such a personal song, but I mean, don't want to be kind of morose about it, but you know, it's about the death of my mum, you know, my mother. So I chose not to tell them what the song was about. And then, you know, kind of once we were done, I kind of let them know. So yeah, I mean, sometimes it's appropriate to let people know, you know, if it's, you know, I think people will always read into the lyrics, you know, so, and I always try to have lots of levels going on in, you know, in my work. I think that's really important. So yeah, I mean, I think there's the starting place, which is, okay, this is the idea, and this is the feeling. So it's quite a lot of the time it's about how I'm feeling. And then where, you know, how that can be interpreted. But, you know, all my favorite albums never came with a, you know, a sheet that told me what it was about. You know, it wasn't about that. I mean, I think you sense the feeling quite quickly, especially with a, you know, a good vocalist. So yeah, so, you know, Feed the Fire's got, as I say, you know, it's quite a departure for Ash Code.
Okay.
But we've got enough material, which I think I'm going to do another version of the track later. So which is more electronic. So I might drop the guitars from it and do something which has got a more kind of dark wave feel to it. So yeah, that's kind of, but that's a future plan. That's not, that won't be with the album.
And then I like the title of this one, The Queen of Hearts. I like that one.
Yeah, Queen of Hearts. It's got a dual title, Queen of Hearts, House of Cards. So yeah, so that's with Valentina Vale from VV in the Void. So I mean, I've known Val for quite a few years anyway. I've done a lot of work with, you know, her partner's band, actually, Night Nail, and she's, you know, she does backing vocals and does keyboards and stuff with Night Nail as well. But yeah, I think we kind of started working through Cleopatra. So I was asked to master her last album, and also do a final mix actually on one of the tracks. So I ended up doing that, and then yes, just through that conversation, you know, it kind of became clear that we're quite keen to work together. So yeah, Queen of Hearts is it's a song about domestic abuse, actually. So, you know, one of the shocking statistics really is that, you know, domestic abuse rose over 30% in the last 2 years, and you know,
absolutely,
it's appalling, you know, and so yeah, you know, and that's also tied into, you know, kind of a kind of another personal story with you know, a friend of mine that, you know, so it's all kind of linked. But yeah, Val was fantastic. So, you know, again, sent her the demo track, sent her the lyrics, and yeah, she put this incredible, you know, vocal across the top. So, you know, she had no guidance in terms of, you know, what I was looking for. She just, you know, did her thing, and yeah, it's a
great title.
Thank you.
So this album Asylum is available on there's two versions of it. One is the North America, South American Metropolis label, Metropolis Records. And interestingly, there's two songs that is in Metropolis, right? Which is let me make sure I got this right. Crossing Borders and The Cage.
That's right.
And then the other version, which is on another label. Manic Depression Records. It's going to have two other songs that's not on the other that's not a Metropolis label.
That's right.
The Room and A Shadow of Doubt, which is so that's an exclusive. So somebody wanted to, they would have to buy the two.
Well, you know, you'll still get them online.
Oh yeah, you can still do that.
But I think so it's important that I explain why I wanted to do that and why it was important. So, you know, the being signed to Manic Depression Records and Metropolis Records, I mean, it's a bit of a big deal, you know, for me, you know, and I was delighted when, you know, the conversation with Metropolis kind of escalated to the point where, you know, they were keen to hear the album in advance. You know, I sent them 4 tracks. They've listened through, and I think within an hour, they were like, can you send us the rest of the album? And then I think an hour later, they were going, well, we better have a chat about a contract. And so it moved really quickly, which was really, incredible for me. And, really means a lot, that is definitely, a lifetime goal. So yeah, I was really, that was an important thing for me. So knowing that I wanted to split the release, and the reason that I wanted to split the release was because I've had a lot of people saying, I live in the States, I want to buy your vinyl, but come on, it's going to cost me more to get it shipped, and I'm saying, no,
yeah.
I'm saying the States, but you know what I mean. So, in terms of kind of treating the territory different. So I was thinking it was really important to be able to make, get my music accessible to people and affordable as well. So it's those two, when it comes to physical formats. So as you'll see, my collaborative albums always have, kind of label device that sits on the cover, and it holds my logo, and it also holds the logo of the record label. So going through this, I was thinking, well, I'm going to write new liner notes. I'm going to do a different cover. Why don't I just do, a couple of, tracks which are unique to each? And then, because I think it makes it a little bit more special for the labels too, so they've got something that, the other doesn't have. So that was really, kind of the process that I went through. And, I hope it's not misinterpreted, as a marketing ploy, because the thing that I wanted more than anything was people to be able to have the album, at a price that they can afford.
Yeah, no, that's a really good. Now I understand. Yeah, that's a really good.
But it's right. I mean, people are saying, 95% of your material is going to be consumed digitally anyway. But actually, the people that support me and the people that spend their hard-earned money on the physical releases, it does mean a lot. So, and I wanted to make sure that they have something that's been considered. So I think a lot about the people that care enough to support artists, alternative artists.
Oh yeah.
There's no big kind of record label advance, and there's no there's no yacht, there's no big promo budget. It's not that. It's a very, very different thing. So yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons I try to care, and put much care and attention into my releases as I can. And that is by way of thank you.
Yeah, and another thing too, I mean, this is going to be released on vinyl, which is really, it's hard to get this sometimes. Once they're gone, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, I buy vinyl because for that very reason, because I collect it, and it's just tell us about the album cover.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's another reason, the album cover.
So yeah, so that's a piece that I did. It's part of a triptych. So it's a sculptural triptych, and yeah, I mean, I had a strong idea of the form that I wanted the piece to take for the cover. The originally I had thought that I'd use all three elements through the cover, but yeah, I think eventually I felt that the particular piece that I used was the strongest in terms of its aesthetic balance. But yeah, I mean, there's a few things kind of going on with that. I won't go too literal on the translation of what the piece signifies. But yeah, so there's clearly a kind of a heart or a center of darkness to the cover. But then there's also a human energy. So if you do look closely at the cover, I deliberately left, the fingerprints and the kind of motion of working with the various materials, and I wanted that to show, and it's got broken elements, and I wanted, that whole kind of handmade thing to be, I guess, encapsulated, as kind of part of that exercise. So yeah, I think I'd sat with the idea for quite some time, and the piece itself, came together quite quickly. And then it was just around, kind of last minute, not last minute, but, kind of Photoshop treatments just to, make sure that it would sit well in the cover.
That is great. So the new single that's out now is called The Necklace. So that's what I wanted to ask you about. Can you tell us about that? I know the song was written. This is the only song on the album written.
That's right. Yeah.
By Agent Side Grinder. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's working with, Johan wrote the lyrics, and, so I'd kind of chatted to him about the theme for the album and, what it was trying to achieve. And yeah, he just, he took the notion of, both asylum seeking and also kind of domestic abuse. Mm-hmm. And he'd gone to, I think it was an exhibition, and he'd seen, there were basically necklaces made of seeds. And it was a very kind of powerful exhibition where, the artist themselves was kind of talking about, their personal experiences. So he took that as a kind of foundation for the lyric. And yeah, it's a very poignant and powerful narrative. And yeah, it was absolutely, kind of bang on. And, kind of similarly, he sent me the lyrics, kind of work in progress. Were a couple of things that I kind of felt that you could maybe treat slightly different, absolutely tiny little, tiny little detail. Took the feedback on board, and yeah, and I think both him and Emmanuel sing on the track itself, but their voices blend so well. And yeah, again, it was a real honor to, get that kind of quality of, kind of delivery from them. But, they're really professional and, fantastic to work with, so and it was a real, true collaboration, even, doing the video itself for the single. They were great, they went off, they sent me rushes and sent me, kind of all the video to edit. And so similarly, from working on the track, working on the video, I did all the, post-production, did the edits, sent them that, make sure they were happy with it. They were, kind of came back and said, we need to see more of you in it. So, it's not my favorite thing to be in front of the camera, but yeah, so, really positive experience, I would say. And, I've been delighted with the response to the single, as have they actually, so, which is, hopefully, kind of makes it, worthwhile for them as well. Because a big part of, what I'm trying to do is get, kind of crossover audiences for people.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was wondering that, because when you see the necklace, I was like, it's very mysterious, Like it's exactly what you said. It's like going to a museum and you're seeing this necklace in behind the glass shell or whatever, right? And then you're kind of like, okay, what is that about? Especially as it pertains to your album interpretation. So that's really deep. Yeah. Thank you for explaining that.
No, my pleasure.
I'm totally looking forward to all this. There's so much. And I know you also did you did a cover of this one of my favorite track from the Sisters of Mercy album, 919. I think that's a great song. I love that. You really capture that. That's a great song. That's one of I think that's my favorite song in that album. Yeah, the first and last always. Yeah.
It's mine too, I'll be honest. I would normally have never have thought of covering the Sisters. First and last and always is just a incredible album. It's still probably one of my top 3 albums of all time. And yeah, you're right. The lyrics on 919 are extraordinary. Very kind of heavily influenced by T.S. Eliot, but just incredible. Eldritch at that time was just a fantastic lyricist.
I mean, it's so visual too. Lipsticks
Oh,
on cigarette, you know.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, it's one of those things we did, you know, with our clove cigarettes, you know, back in the
Yeah,
day.
absolutely. So yeah, it was actually Pedro, label owner at Unknown Pleasure Records, who got in touch and said, it'd be amazing if you covered this, if you can get Carl on board. And yeah, and I think it was pretty daunting, as you could well imagine. I mean, they only played that track live a few times, and it's a very difficult song to sing. The lines are really long. So there are lots of, getting to the end of a line and I've just got no breath left. But, I think that's kind of part of the intensity of the track. And it is, it's a beautiful lyric, and it's, it was, I felt it was, definitely a challenge, shall we say. And I think, doing 9well9 felt like it was a learning experience for me. It was kind of understanding a little bit about myself, and then a little bit, about how other people approach songwriting. So I've never really been one for covers. I've always, just written music myself, picked up a guitar and, just, written riffs, and that's been the way I work. So I've never really spent time. I listen to a lot of music, don't get me wrong, and I analyze, from a production point of view, music a lot. In fact, there's never a day that goes by without me trying to learn something new, whether it's production technique or just listening. But yeah, so that, I learned a lot from that. But then it went on, and Unknown Pleasures, they asked me to cover She's in Parties by Bauhaus. So I did that cover. And I think, again, I learned something else.
Another favorite.
Yeah, I know, it's another big song. So yeah, I mean, I think I learned a lot about interpretation, actually. So I've got a couple of other tributes covers in the pipeline.
Yeah, Christian Death.
So yes. So so I've got but I think the way that I treat the new covers will be very different, shall we say. So yeah, I think what I need to do more is interpret them for myself, rather than try to cover them, if that makes sense.
So will you be releasing another single before you release I know it's a couple of weeks, right? Maybe not. Yeah.
In this place will be the one that lands on the day. So yeah, I think just trying to get the pacing right, in terms of the album release. I know with Haunted Place, we put out Raise the Skies, and then we put out Burn Bright. But yeah, I kind of felt that we were maybe too close with because we also had A Kiss in the Rain, which kind of went out on the day of release. So yeah, I wasn't sure if we'd kind of just put out too many singles too early with that album. But it's difficult. The pre-release on Asylum was sold incredibly well, I'll be honest. I couldn't believe it. So Manic got in touch saying, should we press more, because it looks like it's just going to go, which was amazing. But it's difficult because you just never know with these things, and I don't like the idea of record labels losing out. So it's a big deal to invest in vinyl and CD, the physical side of things, and to have both labels back me on this is important. So,
that's great.
But unlike some of the earlier work, if it sells, it would go to second pressing, I'm sure, if everybody was comfortable with it. But yeah, I mean, I think I've been really touched, by kind of people being loyal enough and trusting enough, to buy an album without hearing it. It's quite a thing, really. So.
Yeah, so Asylum will be released also both limited edition vinyl and CD.
Mm,
And
yeah,
also, of course, on all digital and streaming platforms. And that's
yeah,
going to be the release date, July 15th.
that's right.
It's on Metropolis Records and Manic Depression Records. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for joining me. Gosh, I mean, I'm even more excited now that I know more about what's going on.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
well,
thank you for joining me. I can mention I always see you with your sunglasses. So
yes,
uh,
I know. Absolutely. I should have brought them really. I should have
no,
just
you look great. You look great. I mean,
yeah, I enjoy hiding behind my sunglasses. They're
no, I mean
yeah,
now I can really see the deep. You really do take I mean that's why the music is this way, because you really do take a deep focus on this is it's not just you just put new music out there. You really do research on it and you really do plan it because
yeah. The music for me, it's not it's not a commercial thing at all. So
passion.
it's
Yeah.
a very it's a passion, and it's a very cathartic process.
Mm-hmm.
And the I enjoy. I mean, I absolutely love music, but also for everything that I release, there's 150 tracks that you'll never hear, because I just don't think they're good enough. So and that's it's an important part of that process. Either because the music that I write is always a reflection of how I'm feeling. So I've not got perfect pitch. I'm not a trained musician, classically trained musician. Everything I do is essentially from the heart. It's what I'm feeling. Whether that's kind of lyrically or musically. And I think age is part of that. Kind of realize that I've had lots of material out. I've written music for radio, film, TV, various independent labels over the years. I've had music published by Sony, BMG, and Universal. And sometimes if you're in writing mode for others, it's a different thing. This isn't about that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I think it's important. I wear my heart on my sleeve. You could ask me anything, and I'd answer it.
Oh, I know. I know. I can
The
tell.
but it is it's important to have meaning, or and try and kind of make something worthwhile. And I would love to think that even if one track makes someone think, oh God, that makes me feel something, good or bad, then that's a powerful thing to have happened. So yeah, it's not done lightheartedly. So
Yeah, and there's a video on the necklace which is out on the YouTube, right? You also have a video out there, and
yeah,
people wanna, of course, listen to your music. It's on Bandcamp or on the
yeah,
label, and if
that's
people want
right.
to purchase it, that's where they go. And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm so excited.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's been really lovely speaking to you, Anne, and
I know. No, thank you so
thank you
much.
so
I
much
mean,
for
I've
your
been
support.
wanting, we've been communicating and been wanting
Yes.
to interview. I think it's perfect. It's a perfect timing. And, I always believe in that kind of divine timing of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you
Uh,
so much. So if people are listening, please like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. And if you're listening on my podcast, of course, there's other streaming platforms there: the Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. I don't know, PocketCast, and so forth. Or just go to my website, djnocturna.com. Thank you so much, Pete Burns, Kill Shelter. Looking forward to the new album, Asylum, coming out July 15.
that's it. Thank you very much. Oh, lovely chatting to you, Anne. Thank
Okay.
you so
All
much.
right.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Okay, let me just turn this off. Thank you.